off, cat. Alright guys, it's been a little while since I've had to sit down and talk with you. But anyways, let's see the beer I'm enjoying today. This is from Wine Coop, which is one of the older breweries here in Denver. It was actually formed by Hickenlooper, which is I think our governor at the time, but right now. So it's barrel aged Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout, made with bull testicles. It says that at the bottom. But Rocky Mountain Oyster Stouts is a popular cuisine here in the Northwest. Take some bull nuts, you slice them up, you fry them, and you serve them as appetizers. So anyways, apparently this beer was made with bull nuts. Straight up testicles. I don't know exactly what that would add to a beer, but we're going to go ahead and see. So, aside from just getting ready to drink some nuts, I've been brewing a lot of beer for my home brew club. That's pretty much been, oh, look at that. I think I smell taint. Slight butthole. Maybe a whiff of pubic hair, but mostly nuts and taint. Anyways, I have been brewing quite a bit actually lately, but it's all been for my home brew club. We have a barrel going for a sour and a sour barrel, so I brewed up some beer for that, and then also did a beer for a imperial stout, which is going into a barrel. So I've had a couple brew days, but none of them's been for. And actually, on the imperial stout, I did a party guile, and so I brewed off 5 gallon, or I made an additional 5 gallons from the 25 pounds of grain or whatever. So that's going in the fermenter right now. So we'll see how that turns out. But let's go and give these nuts a try. It actually smells pretty roasty, a little bit of alcohol. I think it's 7.8% alcohol by volume. Yeah, so it's not too bad. A lot of roasty chocolate. Whenever you're drinking a beer made from testicles, don't sip it. You have to really, I think, really gulp it down. Let it kind of hit your like chin and stuff like that. Maybe even massage the glass a little bit. A lot of roast, a little bit of chocolate, but it's super roasty, a bit burnt. You can definitely taste kind of like the bourbony, whiskey, oaky flavor that comes from barrels. Yeah, that's definitely up front. So you can definitely tell it's that it's and actually, yeah, it is barrel aged. Okay, great. So it says barrel aged Rocky Mountain. So I assume Wine Coop Brewery is a middle-sized brewery here in town, but it is one of the first ones. But anyways, so back on point. So I'm gonna do a contest, and the contest is basically going to be. I brew the beer you want me to brew. So I'm going to hold up. So basically, the contest is you post in the description a recipe of the beer you want me to brew, and maybe equip just a quick explanation of why I should brew it. Maybe this is your house beer. and you want to see what someone, this is my house pale ale. Just want to see if someone else brews it differently, or if it tastes differently from someone else. Or you could say this is my house pale ale, and I want to see what it tastes like with the Belgian yeast. Or you could even say, this is a double IPA, or this is the recipe for, so and so double IPA, and I've always wanted to brew it, never had the time, just haven't gotten around to it. Travis, brew this beer for me and send me a couple bottles. So that's basically what we're doing, and there just has to be a reason why. So don't just pick out a recipe, say I found this online, brew this for me. I want an explanation of why I should do it. I mean, maybe it's just to firm up that a beer that I brew tastes the same that you brew. As simple as that. I'm totally okay with that. I mean, or you could say, I want you to brew up this clone recipe to make sure that the clone recipe tastes like the authentic Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout recipe. So Travis, I want you to go out and get some bull nuts, throw them in a stout, and let's see how those taste. So there's a few restrictions. I'm not putting restrictions on hops as long as I can get them in the U.S. Reasonably. No restrictions. No restriction on gravity. I can do up to 1.105, so it's like a 10 or 11% beer. I don't really want to go above that, so don't do like a 120-minute clone edition, because I'm not gonna fuck with the sugars and stuff you have to put in. I'm not going to put in bull nuts into my beer. I just eat them raw, so I can't hold on to bull nuts that long. But other than that, I can do lagers. I have temperature control, so lagers are no problem. Belgians, IPAs, anything really. Obviously I do a lot of sours, so if you really wanted to do a sour, post that in, just know that it's not going to be done for a few months. I'll still honor it, but like a Berliner Weissen per se, say you've never had a Berliner Weissen, and that's your excuse to say, I've never had a Berliner Weissen. Travis, brew a Berliner Weissen, here's a recipe I found online, love to try a homebrew Berliner. That's a perfect excuse. But, yeah, anyways. It's kind of in celebration of my 200th subscriber mark, but really it's just because I like doing it, and it sounds like a good time. I have a few other beers coming up. I have a collaboration type brew with some other people that I think will probably become public sometime, but I'm not going to give anything away. But that's going to take precedent over this, so it's possible it could be 2 months away from me brewing it, and then by the time I get it all situated and then sent out to you. So, that being said, just be patient with my timeline. I've a 6-month-old kid, and stuff happens, so I can't always brew exactly what I want, but I will get around to brewing that beer. In fact, this will be my next house beer. So whatever beer you guys decide, that'll be my next beer that I brew for personal pleasure. Let's just say that. So I have at least one more beer coming up. Well, actually, I have a couple beers that I have to brew for the NHC that I'm going to be entering in some sour beers. So I have to brew a sour beer to pitch on a cake of a sour beer I'm entering. It's kind of complicated, but this will be my next beer that I do for pleasure. Let's just say that, or for kegging. So yeah. So when you guys enter the recipe, be very specific on hops, timing, mash schedule, and yeast too, especially yeast. That's such a huge part. I would prefer you guys to say, WOP 001 or 1056. Don't just say clean out yeast. because that could be another 5 or 6 different kinds of yeast. So be very specific. And, you know, go ahead and think about it. You know, get your house beer that you've done 7 or 8 times that you've always wanted to just pitch a Hefeweizen yeast into it and see what it does, you know. What does a pale ale with a Hefeweizen yeast do? Hell, I don't know. So I'm really not limiting much to the recipe. A few kind of common sense guidelines as far as timing wise. I mean, if you want me to do a barley wine, and I can do a barley wine. I can keg it up and I can send it to you, you know, 30, 40 days later. But you know, maybe that's not the best for this type of experiment. Just because barley wines, you know, kind of come into their own at 6 months. I'd still do it, but you know, maybe think of something else. Maybe think of something a little faster. But yeah, that's really my only real guidelines. So yeah, I can't think of anything else. Kind of have balls on the brain. That's actually a pretty good beer. The other thing, this is important. Oh, that fucking cat almost got away from me. Oh! But the other thing is it's only for the U.S. I don't think Canada. I don't know what the deal is with shipping to Canada. But I'm gonna say no on Canada. I'm trying to make this pretty cheap on shipping, but so anywhere in the United States, this is what I will do. To compensate for that, if you live, let's say you're Paul Wickstein living in New Zealand, and you say, well, fuck, I'm out of this competition. Not entirely. If I pull your name, have a recipe that says, you know, hey, this is Paul, but then say that I want my 4 beers to go to SJ Pour, because this is the beer that I really wanted SJ Pour to taste, but have never got around to sending him $90 worth of shipping and handling to send it to wherever SJ Pour lives, which is like, I don't know, somewhere. So yeah, so that's the other thing. So if you live outside of the US, you can still enter the competition. You just have to give me somewhere to ship it to inside the US, if that makes sense. You can get me the shipping address is obviously later. So maybe you want to ship something if you live in England and you want to send something to North Carolina, to Puka, NC. Perfect. You're in the competition. I'm just not going to ship beers out of the U.S. That's my only thing. So, anyways, guys. So, yeah. So no real. That's it, I think. If there's any type of stipulations later, I'll let the winner know that I can or can't do it. So, all right, guys. Later.